The Law Commission is to conduct a review of the sentencing framework for murder in the UK. It all comes after a campaign for change by the families of the Nottingham attack victims, Barnaby Webber, Grace O'Malley-Kumar and Ian Coates. Their killer, Valdo Calocane, was given a hospital order for manslaughter on the basis of diminished responsibility. The Crown Prosecution Service's decision to charge him with manslaughter rather than pursue murder convictions was branded a gross miscarriage of justice by his victims' families. Well, I'm pleased to say Barnaby's mother, Emma Webber, joins me now. Great to have you on the programme, Emma. Thanks for being with us. You've campaigned so hard since Barnaby died, and the Law Commission is now reviewing homicide. How do you feel about it? Are you pleased?
It's hard to use positive words and superlatives like please, but I do think that we're making progress, and we do welcome what we heard today. We knew that it was coming. We hoped that it was coming. We had a letter to confirm it yesterday. So I think in everything we're going through, this is a step forward, but it's obviously this isn't just peculiar to our particular tragedy and our particular case. And I think that it could be a pivotal moment for this country in long overdue reform of law for homicide and also the sentencing for those serious crimes.
Yeah, of course. And 18 years ago, we thought we were going to have a pivotal moment as well, or many people did, when there were calls to change homicide into 3 tiers: first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and manslaughter. Just to be clear, is that what you would like to see now? Is that the ultimate goal, if you like?
I think, yes, in a nutshell, it has to be. I think we have to recognise that, you know, we're almost 20 years ago, this was with the Law Commission and on the cusp of going through. But we have to remember that, you know, the country has moved on significantly since we abolished the death penalty, but the law doesn't seem to have done. So this arbitrary black and white, you're either a cold-blooded murderer or it's manslaughter, and that could be accidental. That could be, as in our case, using the diminished responsibility case. So, yeah, I think it's long overdue, and we are hoping that we'll be involved, certainly from a victim's perspective, because the way that we've had to conduct ourselves, we've had to fight since this happened, shows how woefully under-supported we as victims also are.
If the law had changed, as you say, nearly 20 years ago, what difference do you think that would have made to your situation?
I mean, sadly, the law changing for homicide wouldn't have prevented Valdo Calocane from murdering Grace, Barney and Ian. That's other failings within 2 police forces and a mental health trust. But what we would have had is some form of closure from a justice perspective, in that the individual who committed such heinous, evil, monstrous crimes was being treated for his illness, which of course we've never disputed. But I think most importantly, he would be serving a punishment in due course, as and when that was appropriate for him to do so. And we feel, and this is our opinion on behalf of all 3 families, that there was a huge miscarriage of justice. Valdo Calocane's a murderer. We will never accept manslaughter and the use of the system to enable that to fit. So I hope that's not too long an answer, but that's from the heart. That's our truth, and that's what we will always believe.
Yeah, no, you've made it very clear. And there's also the very strange situation, isn't there, where he was found, he wasn't guilty of murder, as we know, but he was guilty of attempted murder, which does seem very strange.
Yeah, we question that, and it's strange. And do you know why? Because there's no provision in law for attempted manslaughter, so he's allowed to be charged with attempted murder, but the actual murders he committed are manslaughter, because he wasn't apparently during his psychosis able to stand. I think this is an individual who planned what he was doing. He compiled his weapons. He violently and viciously attacked before there was outstanding warrants for his arrest. He chose not to take medication. The list goes on and on and on. And I'm not here to retrial it. There will be another time for when we do get to speak about that. But yes, I think it just goes to show how archaic and flawed our criminal justice system is, that we ended up in the most painful of situations following the most catastrophic tragedy that could ever befall any family.
Yeah, of course. And he's been sentenced to an indefinite period in a secure hospital, but that could mean anything. I mean, how are you interpreting that?
Yeah, I think we have to interpret it factually from what we know and from the research that we've been doing, which is why we've been lobbying. Despite it being much lauded and reported, sadly by the judge himself as well as the barristers, that it's an indefinite hospital order and it's unlikely he'll ever be released. The truth is that that's not really the case very often at all, unless we make him the next Ian Brady and spend the rest of our lives keeping that awful name in the front of the public's mind, so he can't be released. Because the fact is that 98% of indefinite hospital orders, people that are on those for these type of heinous crimes, are out within 20 years. And actually it's well over 80% that are out within 10 years. So even if he does serve 20 years, he'll only be in his early 50s. He'll be my age when he is out. And that's unfathomable to me that could happen in the country I live in and the country I chose to bring my children up in.
Yeah, that's quite a statistic. Any thoughts on the length of the review? Because it could take a few years.
I think it's important that it's done properly. We were rushed and hastened, we believe, by the CPS, by the criminal justice system. And this is potentially, as I said, a pivotal moment in the law in this country. So it's got to be done right. I think there need to be some urgent reforms. I can't speak on behalf of the other story today with regards to domestic violences and homicides, but it needs to be urgently addressed. And I think, yes, this country has a lot of urgent matters that are, widely reported on virtually every day. But I would argue that the most important thing that we have in this country is public safety. And if we don't have public safety, parents can't allow their children to walk home from university on their last week of the first year of university from a night out. We can't assume that a father or a grandfather could drive to work in his van to finish up his last few weeks before retirement. And that goes across not just from one end of the age spectrum to the other, but we have to be safe in this country. We have a right to be safe, and everything that went wrong has to be addressed. And that's not just the homicide laws. It's about the policing, the failures, the accountability from Leicestershire and Nottinghamshire police forces and the mental health. But it's not just peculiar to those forces. And this isn't a witch hunt. This is a genuine cry and plea for answers so that proper change can actually happen. We don't want to hear apologies will be made.
No, and if that takes time, then so be it. And finally, Emma, Christmas on the way. How are you coping as a family?
It's our second one, and I can hardly believe that it's our second Christmas without him, and it's agony, it's pain. But we have to try and get through this, and we have to be there for Charlie, for his younger brother, and David and myself and the rest of our friends and family and Barney's friends that have been so devastated. So, we'll one foot in front of the other and all that stuff that you hear. And, we will try and smile and have some cheer. And as odd as it sounds, it feels like there's some progress being made, and we are at least being a little bit listened to by some agencies from today's news.
OK, well, of course, all of us here wish you a very peaceful Christmas, and thank you for coming on. Emma Webber, good to see you.